Hello and welcome to this presentation by the Middlebury College Career Services Office. The goal of this workshop is to provide you with the information you need to prepare for and conduct a successful professional interview. An interview is designed to be a conversation between two people with intersecting goals, an employer who is seeking to fill a position and a prospective employee. Ideally, an interview will not feel like a high-stakes interrogation or an artful performance. Rather, it should be an exchange of information between you and the interviewer, in which you clearly articulate the connection between your skills and interests and the position for which you're applying. In turn, the interviewer provides you with the information you need to decide if the position and organization is the right fit for you. A successful interview encompasses more than just the time you spend sitting across from an interviewer. It begins with the preparation you conduct beforehand and concludes with the follow-up you will do to ensure that you make a positive and lasting impression. In order to ensure that you are fully prepared for your interview, you must first be able to identify your personality, values, interests, and skills, and how these four qualities intersect to formulate your career goals. For example, looking at the job description shown here, you're likely to be drawn more to one than the other based on your interests and skills. Being able to hone in on these qualities will allow you to target your career search to positions that will be the right fit for you, as well as make it easier for you to articulate this fit to a prospective employer. Career Services has a number of resources to help you if you feel like you need assistance working through this part of the process. Once you have clearly identified your career goals, the next step is becoming knowledgeable about your target industry and the organization with which you'll be interviewing. Networking with professionals in your field of interest and checking out the many online resources available on the Career Services website will give you critical information for your interview, such as industry trends and the culture of the organization to which you're applying. Midnet Online is one such resource that you should be sure to utilize. This is a database of about 10,000 Middlebury alumni working across a wide range of career fields who are available to offer advice and information about their chosen industry. Armed with a clear sense of your qualifications and skills, as well as a keen understanding of the industry and organization, you should be well prepared to make a clear connection between your background and the job description for the position. There are several different types of interview questions you might encounter, depending on the industry and the style of the interviewer. For most first-round interviews, you can expect a number of questions about your resume. Thus, it is important that you spend time thinking about how you will describe your background and experience, highlighting relevant skills and achievements. In addition, you might also be asked some behavioral or situational questions. Because an employer can't road test each prospective employee before they decide who to hire, they ask questions that will either mimic situations you might encounter on the job or give a general sense of your comfort with a certain skill set. While you can't anticipate which specific questions will be asked of you, if you read the job description carefully, you will get an idea of those skills which the employer thinks are most critical to the position. So, for example, if the job description mentions the ability to work independently, the interviewer might ask you a behavioral interview question such as, "Tell me about a time when you were solely responsible for working on a project from creation to completion." The best way to prepare for these types of questions is to think in advance about different examples from your background and experience, which illustrate the skills listed in the job description. Then, when you hear a question that sounds like it's alluding to your facility with a particular skill, you will have an example at the ready as opposed to having to drum one up on the spot. If you're applying to a position with a consulting firm, there's also the strong likelihood that you will be asked several case interview questions, which are unique to this industry. Case interviews are problem-solving exercises which demonstrate your thought process, analytical ability, creativity, and poise. It's extremely important to be prepared for these types of questions if you will be interviewing with an organization likely to use them. Career Services offers a case interviewing workshop each fall, and you can find additional resources online at vault.com, which is accessible through the Career Services website. The interview begins the moment you walk into the organization, and your nonverbal communication skills are just as important as what you say in making a strong first impression. Actions like arriving early for the interview, greeting the receptionist sincerely, presenting the interviewer with a strong handshake, and dressing appropriately for the interview all send a positive message. If you're not sure what constitutes appropriate interview attire, don't hesitate to contact Career Services for advice. In addition, during the interview, it's important to maintain good eye contact and posture and avoid nervous mannerisms. The interview will likely begin with a getting to know you phase, in which the interviewer will pose questions about your resume and background to get a better sense of who you are as an applicant. It's helpful to identify your most marketable skills as they relate to the job description, so that you can be sure to weave them into the discussion about your varied experiences. Interviewers will also spend time trying to ascertain how well you will fit into their organization culture. As was mentioned earlier, networking with professionals in the field, particularly those working for the same organization, will give you invaluable insider information so that you can make the connection between your background and the ideal candidate they're looking for. As the interview comes to conclusion, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions of the interviewer. It's critical to be prepared with well-researched, insightful questions that demonstrate your interest in and knowledge of the position as well as the industry as a whole. You should also make sure to find out the next step in the application process and get the business cards of everyone you meet during the interview. Just as the interview process begins before you speak a word to the interviewer, it continues even once you've left the building with the way you follow up after. Most importantly, you should immediately send an email thank you note to each person you met with, and then follow that with a hard copy thank you note as well. In the note, you should reaffirm your interest in the position, thank them for the opportunity, and revisit or readdress anything you felt you did not get the chance to convey properly during the interview itself. The next thing you should do is spend time evaluating your performance, noting what went well and what you could improve on for the next interview. Keep track of the contact information of the people you meet and make a note on your calendar to follow up as the employer instructs you to. Practice makes perfect, and we strongly encourage you to take advantage of the practice interviews offered by Career Services so that you can present your best possible self at the time of the live interview. These are conducted exactly like a true interview, with time at the end for feedback on everything from dress and nonverbal communication to presentation skills. If after this presentation you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact Career Services by email or phone. Thank you, and good luck.